Welcome to the Timeless Marketing Podcast with Brian Kurtz, your connection to insights from some of the top direct response marketing minds on the planet.
Hey, it's Brian Kurtz here, host of the Timeless Marketing Podcast. Today's episode is a clip from one of the 2-hour calls inside Titan's Accelerator, my private mentorship program for direct response marketers. Before we get to that, I have one question for you. Do you have a marketing insurance policy? If you don't, you need one. And that's why I created Titan's Accelerator, which is one of the most giving communities and serves as the de facto board of advisors and marketing insurance policy for over 250 of the best and brightest direct response marketers, copywriters, media buyers, marketing agencies, senior executives, anyone in direct response marketing who is committed to growing and scaling their business. The bottom line, you don't have to grow your business alone. And you don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars either. Titan's Accelerator is 1/10 of the price of most groups of its kind. I know because I hosted a group that was over $20,000 a year. If you want to see how Titan's Accelerator can help you grow and scale your specific business, go to briankurtz.net/help. That's BrianKurtz.net/help. And with a private membership, you'll receive access to the full presentation from today's episode, along with the Q&A and discussion that followed. As an added bonus, you'll receive access to a vault filled with many more private calls just like this one. Again, if you want to see if Titan's Accelerator is a fit for you with no obligation, go to briankurtz.net/help. That's BrianKurtz.net/help. And feel free to email me directly. I respond to every email with questions about this episode or just to say hi at brian@briankurtz.net. Now on to today's episode.
All right, Kim.
Hey.
Now best-selling author, Kim Krause Schwalm.
Yeah, this is
Kim
the book,
has been.
but I'm not here to talk about client stuff.
I know.
Okay.
I was looking for a segue that wasn't there. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Kim's got a great topic for us today. Kim has been a great friend for well over 20 years, maybe closer to 30. I think I've known you for close to 30 when you were at Philips.
You kind of ignored me the first 5 years, but
not as a freelancer, I didn't. When you worked at Philips, hey, you know what?
It was only when I beat you and brought you like, oh, Kim, yeah, maybe we should talk.
Yeah, but that was after you. Yeah, Kim was a marketer, not a copywriter. I'll defend myself on that.
It's okay. No,
as long as you keep on repeating the story.
It is a funny story, but yeah, I felt brushed off one time at a conference. I'm like, yeah, I'm a copywriter now, and you're kind of like, oh, okay.
You're not the first. So putting Brian in his place. Now that he's going to,
we all start somewhere, everybody, right?
Yeah, right. Thank you, Kim. I needed that.
You need a little humility.
I do. So Kim has been a member of Titan's Accelerator from the beginning. She just renewed her legendary membership for her 5th year.
It's a legendary now. Okay, I'm at the legendary status of your.
You were legendary before. So, and Kim has also been an active participant here. She's done spotlights before. She did multiple sessions in the Breakthrough Advertising Study Group. So she is a participator, a giver, in the biggest way. And she wanted to do another spotlight on a topic that she felt would be meaningful to all the accelerators. So Kim, the screen is yours, and I will go crawl into a hole.
Share my screen. All right. So I'm going to be talking about the 6-step research process that makes your copy dangerously good. And by dangerously good, I mean high converting, convincing, compelling. People have to read it. It resonates with them, right? All that requires doing the right research. And I'm not talking about spending, oodles of time. I'm talking about having a process that's very efficient and highly effective. I'm going to share it with you. So 6 steps I'll be covering, and I'm going to open a loop here. The 5th I'll reveal later. The first step is to gather the nuggets, and I'll explain what that means. The second step is to get crystal clear on your prospect. The third is to dig out what's special about your product. And this can be the same for a service. The fourth step is to find the unique mechanism. Usually there is something there of your solution. And the sixth and last step, because remember, there's a mystery step in between, which I'll get to, is to then develop the big idea and blueprint for your ad. And this is, the end result of all your research is that when you do start writing, it should take you significantly less time to write stronger copy because you've done the research in advance. So doing effective research lets you beat the existing control to a pulp and become a hero to your client. Easily come up with the big idea and any supporting copy, so your copy practically writes itself. Act like a mind reader so your prospect feels like you are talking to them and that you can be trusted. Seal off all the doors so that your solution becomes the obvious choice, closing the sale, and turn prospects into buyers because you made them believe your product or service would work for them. Why should you listen to me? Well, I've written successful copy that's generated an estimated $1 billion in sales revenue over the last 25 years for my clients, and prior to that as a marketer. I've played in the most competitive sales channels and niches where copy is king for more than 25 years. And I've learned from some of the best, like Brian, and I've trained and mentored some of the best. But you might also want to listen to Gary Bencivenga. Here's what he says about research. Great ads are built on deep research. The best copywriters are tenacious researchers. Like miners, they dig, drill, dynamite, and chip until they have carloads of ore. John Caples advised me once to gather 7 times more interesting information than I could possibly use. And obviously, Gary Bencivenga had a pretty amazing track record. So I did a research of people on my Copy Insiders list about a year and a half ago on, what did they want to know about copywriting research? And I found out that at least 2 in 3 people don't spend enough time on copywriting research. And by enough time, I recommend, and if you ask any top copywriter how much time they spend on research, it's usually at least half of the total time, and sometimes more, maybe 60 to 70%. And, it's probably going to be a little bit more time if it's a brand new launch, right? Because there's a whole lot more new stuff you got to dig up, but at least half. But you can see only about maybe a little over 30%, actually spend half or more of their total time on research. So why is that? Well, top reasons include, they don't know where to find good research or how to do it right. They're tired of wasting time on endless internet searches. I mean, we've all been there. We go down those endless rabbit holes. They can't find what they need to know about their prospect or market. Or a common reason is their client or their boss just doesn't give them enough time to be able to fit research into their whole process, which is a huge mistake. So here's all the things that good research involves. Gather the nuggets. That can include getting together a client, a start kit from your client, having a discovery call or series of discovery calls. And I'll talk about those more later, doing surveys, using AI tools, pull together everything you need to get started. The second step is get crystal clear on your prospect. Identify those deeply felt emotions that are linked to your product and the problem it solves. Dig out what's special about your product. Bring your product's biggest benefits to life and connect them back to your prospect. Very important step. A lot of people, think traditional features, benefits. We're going to go beyond that. Find the unique mechanism. And this, again, interchangeably, you could use the word USP, unique selling proposition. But it's that one differentiator that builds belief that your product will be the one that works for them, where others have failed. And then take everything together. And there's that 5th mystery step I'll get to in a moment. And then you're going to develop the big idea and create that blueprint for your ad so that when you sit down, you're going to have a copy platform put together and an outline, and you're just going to be able to jump right in and let your copy write itself. Sound pretty good? Everybody liking this? All right. Nope. Demetrius doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Too much work.
That's lazy, right?
All right, fine. Okay, so let's talk about gathering the nuggets, like an A-level research beast. Okay, so Start Kit. And if anybody is on my email list or wants to get on my email list, one of the things you get when you join is a 5-in-1 copywriting checklist. And that, I believe it still includes a Start Kit checklist, right? Things to ask for from your client. But yeah, you want to, and it makes you look like a professional, right? Like, it's like, okay, well, here's what I need to get started. And again, you don't want to create a lot of work for your client. It's usually pretty easy for them to do things. Like if you're writing a newsletter promotion, all they got to do is just give you access to everything that's on the newsletter portal, right? But yeah, get access to everything they have, past promos, any surveys they've done of their customers, any testimonials, if it's for a supplement or skincare product, what studies do they already have, that they use to create the product. Sometimes they have an entire, 20-page, document that, has all the justification for the product. So just, get everything that they have, right, to get started. And then figure out what's missing, right? And, go out and find what you want, right? And this reminds me of a quote that Gary Bencivenga, said when I attended his Bencivenga 100 event, and Brian was there too. And he quoted, I think it was an Oakland Raiders coach, and he said, "We don't take what the defense gives us; we take what we want." And I have just let that be my guiding principle. It's like, what is it that I want, right? What would I like to be able to say about this product? What claim would I like to be able to make? What proof? What do I need to back up the, to make a case for the enormity of the problem or prevalence or whatever? And I go out and find that. I don't just say, oh, I've just got to deal with what the client gave me. It's like, no, I'm going to go out and find what I want, what I need to give my promo the edge. So a lot of things, what I do is obviously I'm out there digging up the most recent studies, for example. It's like, oh, their stuff only goes up to 2020. I wonder if anything new's come out. Oh, wow, look at that, right? Or, you guys haven't done a survey in a while and you have very few testimonials. I'll put together a survey for you. And you mind sending it out? Sure, they're usually pretty happy to do that. Sometimes I'll ask for a list of maybe 100 repeat buyers, and I'll do personal phone call interviews. And as long as I interview like maybe 5 to 10, which can take a little while, but I get some great stories. Sometimes I've used testimonials and case studies in promotions. But more importantly, it gives me a picture of who I'm writing to. I have a picture of Joe Schmo from Tennessee, right? And this person is the kind of person that subscribes to a financial newsletter, for example. So yeah, do the extra work, right? Think of Gary Bencivenga's quote, right? You want to go out and find all the ore that you can, mine all the ore you can. Discovery calls, make sure you do this step, especially if it's a client you've never worked with or a product you've never written for. You want to interview the spokesperson or whoever created the product. There could be others. There could be a formulator. There could be a manufacturer. Maybe there's some unique ingredient that you want to, find out what is so special about this. What's its mechanism of action? There's just so much you can get from these types of calls. If you're marketing a newsletter, like a financial newsletter, you obviously want to interview that guru or editor behind the newsletter. And you want to record all these calls and get them transcribed. And it's just going to give you so much great stuff. You want to always have the copy inspiration at your fingertips, right? So keep building your swipe file. When you're working on a particular type of project, then, visit their competitor websites, scour their reviews, go to forums. I get so much great stuff out of forums. For example, people with arthritis or people with, constipation. And we'll get into some of those examples, right? Because I wrote a promo recently for that kind of product. It's amazing what you can find out there. And then, of course, we all know there's plenty of AI tools and prompts that you can use. And that can definitely speed up your research. It can help make sure you're not missing anything. But you still want to always confirm and get your sources, specifically like this actual studies, and double check things because there's a lot of incorrect stuff out there too. All right. So to get crystal clear on your prospect, I like to use something I call the PRISM exercise. And it's something I actually learned from working with Clayton Makepeace, the late Clayton Makepeace. Like I said, I've learned from a lot of really great people over the years. And what this will do is help you identify and put together all of these things. My prospect fears blank. My prospect feels frustrated by blank. My prospect wants. My prospect believes, right? What are the things that resonate? What are their beliefs about your product? Or, it could be even political beliefs. My prospect enjoys. What are the things like in their best moments that they want to do? What do they love doing? And then develop a sketch of the prospect. Make it just a 5 to 6 sentence summary. So where do you get that information, right? You're going to need to do the prism once you've already done some research into your avatar or prospect. So I'm going to share with you a recent example. Earlier this spring, I wrote a direct mail promo. It's right here. It's the first direct mail promo I've written in years. It was for a constipation product, and it did become the control. And so when I was doing my research, I decided, you know what? I really should use the AI. But part of me is like, yeah, but I just don't trust AI alone. I still have to do it my way, right? So I went through forums. I went through, my client had all sorts of surveys of past users of the product, et cetera, et cetera. And I was able to put up, for just the first question in the PRISM exercise, a list of what they fear. And one of the big advantages doing it kind of the human method is you're going to really capture the same language that your prospect uses to describe the problem, right? And it's usually going to be in much more emotional language, the kind of language that you would probably use in your copy. So I've got a long list here. I mean, some of them are a little gross because it's a gross topic, but dying on the toilet of a heart attack from straining, which, believe it or not, like there's some huge number, like 50% of heart attacks happen on the toilet. Like it's crazy. It's like this huge number. And I won't go through the rest. They're kind of disgusting, but it's much more in their language, right? And even some side things that you wouldn't normally expect, like toxins building up, right? These tend to be people who are health conscious, maybe more into alternative health. So they're worried about, like, I got all these toxins and crap because it's just all building up, right? I'm not able to go. Dealing with the pain, not having energy, right? So that's like another thing that's really wrecking their life. So I put the same thing through different prompts using GPT-4, and I got a massive list of 10. So I only had space to include 2 here, but you can kind of see it's completely different language. The fear of having painful bowel movements is a common fear, passing hard, dry stools, etc. So if you only do the AI version of this exercise, it was really helpful from the standpoint of, am I going to cover everything? Did I capture all the things? But it doesn't use the prospect's language. It doesn't capture those emotions, and it doesn't capture, like kind of more the side fears, like low energy or, toxins, for example. They were not on the AI list. So I thought it was just a good example of why you want to do both. Okay, the next step is you want to dig out what's special about your product or service. And for that, I recommend using a 5-step features and benefits exercise, not just features and benefits, like so many of us have heard. So the first step is to list out all the main features of your product, starting with the most important. And then for each one of those features, you're going to ask why. Why is that feature included? And we're going to look at a couple examples in a moment. And then for each of those features, what's the benefit, right? And you guys know about this, right? How does it improve the prospect's life or solve that, problem? But then you take the extra step of dimensionalization. What are all the ways your prospect will enjoy each benefit? So kind of paint that picture. What is life like, once you no longer have that problem and your life's been improved? What else does that mean for you, right? And then identify the key emotion linked to each of these dimensionalized benefits. It's going to help you really go deep into, okay, because, we know that everybody is mostly guided by emotion when it comes to purchase decisions. There is some rational part, but you got to hit the right emotions. So here's a couple examples. The first one is for a shoulder pain product that includes some shoulder exercise equipment and like a kind of little strap you put on your shoulder, right, that you sleep with at night. So the first feature, we're going to look at one of the features that is a day and night system, right? That's one of the unique differentiating features. Why? Why is this feature included? Well, during the day, you need to strengthen your shoulder, but at night, a lot of people re-injure it, right? So that's why we have a day and night system. And the benefit, so you can strengthen and heal your shoulder faster without backtracking at night. Okay, well, what are all the ways you're going to enjoy that benefit? Let's dimensionalize it. Well, that means you're going to start living life without constant shoulder pain. You'll be able to do activities again that you can't do now. You'll sleep better without worrying about your shoulder. You'll get back to fly fishing. You'll be able to lift your grandchild in the air, etc. So, you get the idea. And then the dominant emotions with these benefits. Freedom to do what you want without pain, relief of pain, feel youthful again, stay in control and independent. Don't look too old, look young, right? You don't want to look like this old person who can barely lift their shoulder. And also, anger. It's like, I'm tired of exercising and not getting any better. So these are all emotions you can tap into with your copy. And then the second example is for sales management software for small businesses and entrepreneurs. And the particular feature in this software is that there's a feature that finds leads for your business. Well, why? Well, because finding the right clients is difficult and it can lead to problems if it's done wrong. And so the benefit, so you can find high quality leads with less effort, plus focus on the more high level stuff you need to do to run your business. Dimensionalize. Well, you'll wake up, then here you're going to paint the picture of life, right? Once you have this solution, you'll wake up every morning with high quality prospects flooding your inbox. You'll have an easier time sending the right quote and closing deals. You can focus on what really builds your business so you can be seen as successful, enjoy security, be able to take care of your family and have more freedom. And again, we're doing the prism here, I see one of the mistakes I see with so much copy and even some of the latest AI tools for generating like VSL copy, et cetera, that I've looked at is they just don't go deep enough to the true deep motivators that a prospect has. If you just focus on the surface level stuff, you're not going to really hit the things that motivate them. We're not all like, gee, I'm just looking around for the best software that is the most efficient. No, I want my family to be proud of me. I don't want to worry about what happens if I'm gone. I want people to see me as successful, right? There's a lot of different emotions that are driving this. So here we go. I no longer have to be afraid of rejection by clients. I can stop worrying about money. I can level the playing field and get an advantage. I'm going to finally make money off everything I put in. My spouse and children and friends will respect me or look up to me, right? There's some deeper level stuff that you can get into.
Thanks for listening to the Timeless Marketing Podcast with Brian Kurtz. Visit briankurtz.net and click podcast at the top of the page for a full transcript and show notes. If you are interested in working with Brian personally inside of Titans Accelerator, go to briankurtz.net/help to see how Titans can help you grow and scale your business. That's briankurtz.net/help.